This is Kelly Hill, editor for Test and Measurement with RCR Wireless News. And I am here today with Alex Puregger, who is CEO of Fon. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Great, great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
Pleasure.
Great. So you folks have recently launched Fontech. Can you tell us a little bit about what this new brand is and what this is going to bring to the market?
Yeah, great. We launched Fontech as, I'd say, an extension to the Fon brand. Okay. It's not to announce a new strategy, it's more to basically comply with something that we've done in the strategy already, which is we've been providing services that go way beyond what Fon originally did. Fon is known to most people as a community of people who share Wi-Fi. What we've done over the last years is we've added a lot of components that are around Wi-Fi, that are centered around community Wi-Fi, but to provide technology as a service to operators and enterprises. So when we went with the Fon brand, very often what happened to us is people say, well, I know the community guys. And then you spend a minute on saying, yes, that's right. However, we do also a lot of other things. And now what we've done is we've basically taken the roof of a lot of other things, which is provide technology to telcos and to corporates in Wi-Fi, and put it under the roof of Fontech as a sub-brand, as a side brand, I would say.
Okay. And I'm going to actually reference the screen behind you. You had the Fontech logo on there, and then it says want to fix home Wi-Fi. So let's talk about this home Wi-Fi solution. Why do operators need this? And what challenges does it sort of help address?
Okay, well, while Fon is about community Wi-Fi, and we started with that, Fon home Wi-Fi solution is addressing another problem of people with Wi-Fi. And it's mostly about the problem that a lot of people can identify with, right? You're sitting at home, you are connected with your phone or your laptop or your iPad, you walk to the back of the home and suddenly there's no coverage, poor coverage, right? And then people go out and become creative about solving the problem, right? And they go to the shop and buy a repeater, and they invite a friend who's a bit of a techie, and the friend sets up the Wi-Fi, and that's how you fix the problem, right? Still doesn't fully fix it. So, and that's the problem today. And today there's something like 10 devices per household. We're looking at 50 devices per household in the next 5-6 years, all right? So the Wi-Fi experience is going to get worse. At the same time, we're all spending more money to have faster internet at home, right? Fiber is everywhere. Everybody wants to serve 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 megabits per second, gigabit per second. And then you connect it with Wi-Fi and you get 2 megabits per second. You're like, oh, that's not good. That's not what I signed up for. I pay a lot of money. I didn't sign up for 2 gigabits per second when I'm in the back of my house. So what home Wi-Fi is addressing is that core challenge of people having it home with Wi-Fi, of the problem of, I signed up for Wi-Fi, I signed up for internet, I want great internet all over my house. Okay? And a Fon solution is trying to address that in a way that's helping operators, who in our view are the ones who need to fix that, right? They sold you that broadband line, they sold you the fiber line, they sold you the 100 megabits for $80, for 80 euros.
Sold you the gateway too.
you better want to make sure that they also solve your problem of home Wi-Fi, right? So we look at when we conceptualize the problem or the product of home Wi-Fi, we looked at it from a customer's need first, right? There's the problem of poor coverage at home. And it comes from a lot of reasons: interference, more devices, poor coverage, poor coordination between the different Wi-Fi routers, many things, okay? Relatively complex, relatively technical, but it doesn't have to be so technical. So we looked at it from a consumer's perspective, but then we said, who is the best one to fix it, right? And the best one to fix it is operators in our view. So our solution is around helping operators to fix that problem. Because whereas it's a problem for the consumers in the house, right? And that's already a big problem for an operator. For an operator, it has an impact on the bottom line, which means cost, right? Because people call up, complain about the internet. They call the customer care center. Call centers, there's something like 50% of the calls or even more are related to Wi-Fi, right? People call and say, my internet doesn't work. Until you came to the bottom of, it's not the internet that doesn't work, but it's the Wi-Fi router that doesn't really work in the back. That's a long phone call. right? And very often operators cannot do much more. A customer care agent will tell you, yeah, turn off the router and turn it back on and call me in 5 minutes. And that's even a good scenario. Usually they don't say, call me back in 5 minutes. They stay on the phone for 5 minutes and say, do you see the lights? Is it green already? No, it's still red. Wait a little bit. So what we're trying to address is a customer problem on the first hand, which is bad Wi-Fi experience, and help the operators to solve that problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's probably fair to say that we're seeing a more intense industry focus on home Wi-Fi for a lot of the very reasons that you're talking about. It's a cost center, but it's a very this is how people are generally receiving their services. You know, whether it's video streaming or or connected devices. Whether they're watching on their smartphones or their tablets. It's obviously a really important service, and so we're starting to see some folks selling mesh. I think we're starting to see a number of strategies here to address this problem. So what makes Fontech's solution different and stand out from others in the market?
Well, I'd start with a bit of history, right? The history of FON is very much based on one core concept, which is we're providing software, right? That goes on to hardware that's already existing, right? Our software, our phone sharing software, sits in something like is deployed in something like 70 different CPEs around the world in 20 million routers, right? So we don't think it's a hardware problem per se, or it's a hardware only approach to solve the problem, right? We think you start with the software, right? You start with creating awareness of the problem with software. So the uniqueness of our approach is we've worked with a lot of operators around the globe on bringing Wi-Fi, guest Wi-Fi, community Wi-Fi to a lot of existing routers. We're leveraging that experience, and we basically take our software, put it onto an existing router provided by an operator, and as a first step, create awareness of what's happening. How good is the Wi-Fi? How good is the customer's experience, right? What is there? And you can even see things like, look, that customer, despite the fact that he has 50 megabits per second contracted, he's usually only surfing on Wi-Fi at 15. Well, it doesn't, I'm going to use artificial intelligence, but it doesn't take a lot of artificial intelligence to say, oh, that's actually, he has a Wi-Fi problem, okay? So as the next step, then you can, as an operator, say, I'm going to provide you a repeater. And not just any repeater. I'm going to provide you a repeater that is completely compatible with the main router. So our solution is really around starting with the software for the main CPE, okay, and a repeater software that communicates with each other and leverage that first router really as the hub of the home. There's other solutions, right? Where, as you said very rightfully, there's a lot of movement right now. But many of those are pure over-the-top solutions, right? You go to a media market or you go to Best Buy and you buy 3 routers, could be from any provider, really. And it does a meshed Wi-Fi solution. And it also has the charm of having an app for the customer that the customer can actually be aware of that. Well, we do the same thing, right? But instead of having to buy 3 routers that are completely independent, you already have the core router here. And maybe you only need 1. Maybe you need 2. Maybe you need 3. But we help the customer in the process through that. So it is about really having mostly a software-based solution to start with that is compatible with a lot of different hardwares when it comes to repeaters. And yes, it is about meshed, right? Of course, we use meshing for connecting the different repeaters with each other.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to discuss these things with us. Any predictions or any other thoughts on where this market is headed?
Well, in terms of market size, I think it's going to be big, but I don't know the numbers. You probably know better. I think in terms of customer adoption of this, I think it's going to be really the next big wave. Okay, while mobile phones and Android on mobile phones were really driving a customer adoption to completely different mobile usage behavior, I think getting a grip and control over home Wi-Fi through operators, but also through other companies. So basically, don't treat the router as very often it's called customer premises equipment, right? CPE. To treat as a core part of a home network. as a core part of the connected home, as a core part of how do you do parental control. How do you communicate at home with the internet? I think that's going to be a major trend. And I think what we will see on top of it is what we don't even see right now. And that's what we're betting on as well. So a lot of applications that will come on top of that, not just internet connectivity, security being one of them, but I think a lot more, like we saw in the mobile phone, right? I mean, the first app store wasn't very full. I think we'll see something where there's a lot of applications and an ecosystem developing around that. And that's why we think it's such an important and such an exciting fit.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and we really appreciate having you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.